He is known for being an influential Tibetan Buddhist monk, philosopher, and tantric yogi. He is recognized for his activities that led to the formation of the Gelug school of Tibetan Buddhism. His name is Tsongkhapa. In the remote region of Amdo, nestled amidst the majestic landscapes of Tibet, a remarkable figure was destined to emerge. Born into the esteemed lineage of a Tibetan Longben tribal leader, Tsongkhapa was no ordinary child. His father, a man who had once served as an official of the Yuan dynasty, hailed from the Mongolian heritage, lending a unique blend of cultures to Tsongkhapa's upbringing. As Tsongkhapa embarked on his spiritual journey, he immersed himself in the rich tapestry of Tibetan Buddhism. Guided by a multitude of teachers from diverse traditions such as Sakya, Janang, Kagyu, and Kadam, he delved deep into the profound teachings that flourished in central Tibet. A monk of insatiable curiosity, Tsongkhapa's thirst for knowledge knew no bounds. Drawing from his extensive studies and experiences, Tsongkhapa became a prolific author, crafting a vast collection of works that encompassed Buddhist philosophy, logic, hermeneutics, and practice. His writings were not mere regurgitations of ancient wisdom but rather a harmonious synthesis of various philosophical traditions. Tsongkhapa's oeuvre became renowned for its integration of sutra and tantra, analytical reasoning, and yogic meditation, as John Powers aptly describes. However, it was Tsongkhapa's philosophical approach that truly set him apart. Guy Newland characterizes his unique perspective as a delicate balance between the existence and validity of logic and ethics, intertwined with a radical view of emptiness. Tsongkhapa saw all phenomena as devoid of intrinsic nature, a concept that may seem nihilistic at first glance. Nevertheless, J.L. Garfield clarifies that Tsongkhapa's understanding of emptiness was far from denying existence. Instead, it recognized the interdependent, relational, and conventional nature of phenomena. Tsongkhapa's profound insights into the true nature of reality called for a rigorous pursuit of knowledge through study, reasoned analysis, and contemplation. His teachings resonated with countless seekers, inspiring them to embark on their own transformative journeys. As Tsongkhapa's influence spread, he laid the foundation for the Gelug school of Tibetan Buddhism, leaving an indelible mark on the spiritual landscape of Tibet. The story of Tsongkhapa, the philosopher, monk, and tantric yogi, continues to captivate the hearts and minds of seekers in search of profound wisdom and enlightenment. His legacy endures, serving as a guiding light for generations to come, as they navigate the intricate paths of philosophical inquiry in spiritual awakening. Tsongkhapa, a renowned philosopher and Buddhist scholar, delved deep into the nature of reality and the concept of emptiness. Following in the footsteps of Nagarjuna and Candrakirti, Tsongkhapa believed that all phenomena lack inherent existence because they are dependently originated. He saw emptiness as a consequence of pratityasamutpada, the teaching that no object or entity exists independently but arises in dependence on other factors. According to Tsongkhapa, emptiness and dependent arising are inseparable. In his work, In Praise of Dependent Arising, he explained that while phenomena do exist conventionally, ultimately, everything is dependently arisen and devoid of intrinsic nature. This intrinsic nature, also known as the object of negation, is the concept that Tsongkhapa aimed to disprove through his reasoning. Tsongkhapa emphasized that objects do not exist through their own nature but are established through convention. He further argued that emptiness itself is empty of inherent existence and only exists nominally and conventionally as dependent arising. This means that there is no transcendental ground or ultimate reality that exists independently. Emptiness, for Tsongkhapa, is the absence of intrinsic nature in all things, affirming that all phenomena exist interdependently. The ultimate truth of emptiness, according to Tsongkhapa, is a non-affirming negation. It is not an ultimate phenomenon or a primordial substance like Brahman. Tsongkhapa refuted an alternative interpretation of emptiness put forth by Dalpopa Sharab Gyaltsen. This view claimed that ultimate reality is only empty of conventional things but not empty of itself, asserting its own true existence as the ultimate ground of reality. Tsongkhapa deemed this view as absurd and not supported by Buddhist scriptures. Tsongkhapa's philosophy of emptiness offers profound insights into the nature of reality and the interconnectedness of all things. It encourages us to question the inherent existence of phenomena and recognize their dependence on various causes and conditions. By understanding emptiness, we can cultivate a sense of interconnectedness, letting go of rigid concepts and embracing the fluidity of existence. Tsongkhapa's teachings remind us to approach life with openness and curiosity, recognizing the impermanence and interdependence of all things. Tsongkhapa, the renowned philosopher of Tibetan Buddhism, proposed a profound understanding of the existence of conventional truths. According to Tsongkhapa, conventional truths are true because they possess a sense of reality in some way. He emphasized that phenomena come into existence in a dependent and contingent manner, co-arising with the minds that perceive them and conceptually impute their existence. While they exist in a conventional and nominal sense, they lack independent, self-arising, or self-sustaining existence. Tsongkhapa acknowledged that when subjected to ultimate analysis, no inherent nature or true essence can be found in anything. However, he argued that this ultimate analysis does not invalidate or undermine the existence of conventional phenomena. Instead, it reveals that conventional phenomena are dependent arisings. Tsongkhapa believed that the emptiness of phenomena is precisely what enables their arising and existence. He rejected the notion that conventional truths exist only for ordinary people, asserting the pragmatic importance of these truths for all beings. For Tsongkhapa, ultimate analysis goes beyond a mere intellectual exercise. It aims to negate a deep-rooted habit of perceiving the world in a false and distorted manner. This habit involves a pervasive sense that things are inherently real and solid, existing just as they appear. Tsongkhapa viewed this addiction to perceiving intrinsic existence as the subtle object of negation. His intention was not to refute the philosophical concept of intrinsic existence, but rather to challenge the ongoing mental process of imputing objective independence to what is perceived. Tsongkhapa's perspective on the relationship between conventional and ultimate truths sparked debates among Tibetan madhyamaka philosophers. Some argued that conventional truths are entirely false and unreal, while Tsongkhapa maintained that they are two aspects of the same reality. He believed that to negate conventional truths completely would be tantamount to negating dependent origination, leading to a form of nihilism. The philosophy of Tsongkhapa offers profound insights into the existence of the conventional. It encourages us to recognize that conventional truths have a valid basis in our everyday experience, even as we acknowledge their lack of inherent existence. By understanding the interdependent nature of phenomena, we can cultivate a more accurate perception of reality and liberate ourselves from the distorted ways in which we habitually perceive the world. Tsongkhapa, the renowned philosopher and scholar, dedicated his life to understanding the deep complexities of Buddhist philosophy, particularly in the realm of epistemology. He believed that a proper defense of madhyamaka, the middle way philosophy, required a comprehensive understanding of prama, or valid sources of knowledge, on the conventional level. Tsongkhapa recognized that it was not enough to argue for the emptiness of all phenomena, one also needed to establish the epistemic instruments or sources of knowledge to defend Buddhist views about conventional truths. Tsongkhapa emphasized the importance of distinguishing between what is conventionally true and what is a falsehood. He illustrated this by using the example of a rope on the ground that may be mistaken for a snake. Through valid perception, one can know that the rope is not a snake. Tsongkhapa believed that without a proper understanding of these epistemic instruments and their authority, it would be impossible to differentiate between conventional truth and falsity. In his exploration of Buddhist prama philosophy, Tsongkhapa developed his own epistemological theory. He argued that for something to exist, it must be validly designated by a non-impaired functioning consciousness. He believed that talking about an object that does not exist in relation to a subject is incoherent. Tsongkhapa outlined 3 conditions that must be met for something to be considered validly designated. Anything that fails to meet these criteria does not exist at all. Tsongkhapa also engaged with the views of Candrakirti, a prominent Buddhist philosopher. While Candrakirti stated that ordinary worldly consciousnesses are not valid sources of knowledge with regard to ultimate reality, Tsongkhapa argued that Candrakirti did accept pramas conventionally. He believed that Candrakirti affirmed that pramas can provide knowledge about conventional reality, even though they do not reveal the intrinsic nature of things. According to Tsongkhapa, there are 2 valid ways of understanding the world, one that comprehends conventional phenomena and another that sees the profound ultimate truth of things, the fact that they lack intrinsic nature. He emphasized that these 2 perspectives provide different lenses through which we can perceive reality. Tsongkhapa believed that relying solely on the ultimate epistemological point of view would hinder our ability to distinguish between virtue and non-virtue, or enlightenment and samsara. He argued that the emptiness of phenomena should complement, rather than undermine, conventional Buddhist truths. Tsongkhapa's profound insights into epistemology continue to resonate today. His teachings offer a framework for navigating the complexities of daily life, helping us to discern between conventional truths and falsehoods. By understanding the nature of valid perception and the role of epistemic instruments, we can develop a more coherent understanding of the world and make informed choices. Tsongkhapa's philosophy reminds us of the importance of embracing both the conventional and ultimate truths, finding harmony between them, and cultivating wisdom in our journey towards self-realization. In the world of Tibetan Buddhism, there lived a philosopher and scholar named Tsongkhapa. Like his teacher Rendawa, Tsongkhapa was deeply influenced by Candrakirti's interpretation of the madhyamaka philosophy. However, Tsongkhapa believed that there was a crucial distinction within the madhyamaka approach that needed to be understood. According to Tsongkhapa, the prāsangika approach was the superior approach to madhyamaka. He argued that the alternative svātantrika approach, favored by some philosophers, was inferior. Tsongkhapa believed that the svātantrika approach relied on the use of autonomous syllogisms to defend madhyamaka, which implied that phenomena or even logic itself had intrinsic nature conventionally. Tsongkhapa strongly rejected the idea of intrinsic natures or characteristics in phenomena or reasoning. He held that all phenomena were dependent and simply labeled by thought construction. In other words, they were empty of intrinsic nature, even conventionally. Tsongkhapa believed that the svātantrika philosophers' insistence on the use of autonomous syllogisms revealed their acceptance of intrinsic nature conventionally, which he considered inferior to the prāsangika's understanding of emptiness. While Tsongkhapa criticized the svātantrika approach, he acknowledged that prasangikas could make use of syllogistic arguments as long as they did not rely on intrinsic characteristics. He believed that prasaga arguments, which demonstrated the unwelcome consequences, were often enough to prove the madhyamaka view of emptiness. Tsongkhapa's distinction between the prāsangika and svātantrika approaches to madhyamaka not only shaped his philosophical views but also had practical implications for daily life. It reminded people to question the notion of intrinsic nature or characteristics in themselves and the world around them. Tsongkhapa's teachings encouraged individuals to recognize the interdependent and empty nature of all things, allowing them to let go of clinging and find freedom from suffering. As Tsongkhapa continued to develop and share his philosophical insights, his teachings on the prāsangika-svātantrika distinction became an essential part of Tibetan Buddhist philosophy, guiding practitioners on their path towards enlightenment. J.E. Tsongkhapa, a prominent philosopher and scholar, presents a unique perspective on the philosophy of prasangikas. He argues that prasangikas do not simply reject all views or theses but have a thesis of their own. According to Tsongkhapa, the prasangika's view is that all phenomena lack intrinsic nature. This understanding of emptiness and dependent origination is not a false or dogmatic view to be discarded but a rare and correct understanding that leads to liberation. Tsongkhapa emphasizes that prasangikas can use syllogisms, make positive assertions, hold positions, and argue for them. This notion challenges the misconception that prasangikas reject all philosophical views completely. Tsongkhapa disagrees with this interpretation and instead believes that prasangikas refute the reifying view that things exist ultimately and the nihilistic view that things do not exist even conventionally. To support his interpretation, Tsongkhapa refers to Nagarjuna's negation of the katakoi, which refers to the lack of intrinsic existence. Tsongkhapa understands this negation as a rejection of any single sense in which things both exist and do not exist and that there is any single sense in which things neither exist nor do not exist. This understanding is based on Tsongkhapa's view that the term bhava in madhyamaka has a dual meaning, a reified sense of intrinsic existence and a conventionally existent actuality or functional thing. Tsongkhapa also highlights the importance of reasoning and epistemological tools in the prasangika's approach. He believes that reasoning and dependent origination are central to establishing the view of the lack of intrinsic nature conventionally. Tsongkhapa emphasizes that this reasoning derives its efficacy through dependent origination, not through any intrinsic nature or power. In summary, J.E. Tsongkhapa's interpretation of prasangika's philosophy sheds light on their unique thesis of the lack of intrinsic nature in all phenomena. This understanding of emptiness and dependent origination provides a path to liberation. Tsongkhapa's insights into the prasangika's approach challenge the notion that they reject all views and highlight the importance of reasoning and dependent origination in their philosophical framework. Tsongkhapa, the great philosopher, was known for his unique and profound philosophy known as prāsangika madhyamaka. His teachings were often outlined through the 8 difficult points, which he set forth in a series of lecture notes. These points delved into the realms of ontology and the path to enlightenment. In terms of ontology, Tsongkhapa emphasized 3 key ideas. First, he rejected the notion of a storehouse consciousness, which he believed was not in line with the ultimate view of prāsangika madhyamaka. However, he acknowledged that this teaching might be provisionally useful for those who held a lower view and struggled to fully comprehend emptiness. Tsongkhapa understood that some individuals had a fear of annihilation and needed a stepping stone towards deeper understanding. Second, Tsongkhapa presented an alternative view of personal identity, rebirth, and karma. He explained that the concept of a self or I is a mere designation that depends on the aggregation of the 5 aggregates. This conventional sense of self is instinctive and pre-linguistic, existing before conceptualization. When rebirth occurs, the mental continuum simply moves from one life to another, carrying with it the karmic imprints of the past. Tsongkhapa argued that there is no need to posit a separate, storehouse, consciousness for these imprints. Lastly, Tsongkhapa rejected Buddhist idealism and affirmed the conventional existence of an external world. While he recognized that the external world depends on consciousness, he emphasized that it functions independently of our minds. Tsongkhapa's rejection of Yogacara idealism was in line with Chandrakirti's refutation of it in the Madhyamaka. Tsongkhapa's philosophy not only delved into deep metaphysical concepts but also had practical implications for daily life. His teachings on personal identity and rebirth challenged our conventional notions of self and the fear of annihilation. By understanding that the self is a mere designation and that consciousness continues from one life to another, we can find solace in the continuity of our existence. Furthermore, Tsongkhapa's rejection of idealism reminds us to embrace the external world as a reality that exists beyond our subjective experiences. This recognition allows us to engage with the world with greater authenticity and appreciation. In conclusion, Tsongkhapa's prāsangika-madhyamaka philosophy, as outlined through the 8 difficult points, offers profound insights into ontology, personal identity, and our relationship with the external world. By grappling with these concepts, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, ultimately leading to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. J.E. Tsongkhapa, the renowned Buddhist scholar, delved into the intricate subject of Buddhist hermeneutics, which holds great significance in interpreting the seemingly contradictory statements found in Buddhist sutras and treatises. Tsongkhapa firmly believed that a proper understanding of hermeneutics was crucial in unraveling the true meaning behind the Buddha's teachings. According to him, the key criterion for interpreting the Buddha's statements was human reason, specifically the analytical reasoning that seeks to understand the ultimate nature of phenomena. Tsongkhapa also drew upon the teachings of the Akshayamati Sutra, which stated that the sutras of definitive meaning were those that expounded on emptiness. Building upon this foundation, Tsongkhapa argued that any statements or passages in sutras or treatises that did not convey the absence of intrinsic nature were not definitive or ultimate. Instead, he believed that they required further interpretation or needed to be fully explored. This encompassed texts from the Sravaka schools, Yogacara works, and non-prāsangika-madhyamaka philosophy. Even the sutras and statements that referred to the concept of tathagatagarbha or the luminous mind, were seen by Tsongkhapa as expedient ways to describe the emptiness of the mind and its defilements, as well as the potential for Buddhahood within all beings. Tsongkhapa aligned himself with the Indian madhyamakas, such as Bhavivika and Chandrakirti, as well as Kadam scholars like Ngog Lodin Sharab and Chaba Chochi Senj. However, he considered only the madhyamaka view of Nagarjuna as the definitive interpretation of the Buddha's ultimate intent. Tsongkhapa acknowledged that the Buddha, out of his compassion, presented his teachings in various ways, all of which ultimately led to the profound insight into emptiness. J.E. Tsongkhapa's exploration of hermeneutics offers valuable insights not only for understanding Buddhist scriptures but also for navigating the complexities of daily life. By emphasizing the importance of human reason and analytical thinking, Tsongkhapa encourages individuals to engage in critical reflection and discernment. His teachings remind us to question and interpret the information we encounter, seeking the ultimate nature of phenomena rather than accepting things at face value. Tsongkhapa's philosophy guides us towards a deeper understanding of reality and aids us in cultivating wisdom and compassion in our interactions with the world. J.E. Tsongkhapa, the renowned Tibetan philosopher and founder of the Gelug school of Buddhism, found himself at the center of philosophical debates in his time. While his teachings garnered widespread admiration and followers, they also invited critiques from prominent scholars of other schools, particularly the Sakya scholars. One of the first Sakya scholars to openly critique Tsongkhapa's thought was Rongten Sakya Gyaltsen. His critiques were met with responses written by Kedrup J.E., a close disciple of Tsongkhapa. The philosophical debate between the two continued, laying the foundation for future critiques by other Sakya thinkers. Among these critics, Taksang Lotsawa focused on Tsongkhapa's insistence on the importance of maintaining a robust notion of conventional truth grounded in verifiable criteria of validity. Taksang argued that Tsongkhapa's synthesis of madhyamaka and pramana, specifically in terms of epistemology, was flawed and led to significant problems in understanding reality. Garampa, another influential Sakya scholar, took issue with Tsongkhapa's definition of emptiness as an absolute negation of intrinsic existence, considering it a form of nihilism. He also criticized Tsongkhapa's characterization of conventional truth as a kind of existence, further questioning the validity of Tsongkhapa's philosophical framework. These critiques did not go unaddressed. Scholars from the Gelug school, such as Lekpa Chogyur, the first Panchen Lama, and Losang Choki Gyaltsen, penned various responses defending Tsongkhapa's views. They were joined by other Gelug luminaries like Jetsun Choki Gyaltsen, Sara Jetsun Choki Gyaltsen, Panchen Delek Nyama, and Jamyang Zipa. The philosophical debates surrounding Tsongkhapa's teachings continue to shape the understanding of his philosophy. While his critics raised valid concerns, Tsongkhapa's followers argue that his ideas offer profound insights into the nature of reality and can provide guidance in navigating the complexities of daily life.
Do you want to explore more philosophers? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.